Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So I don't know if you guys caught this the other day, but it's hysterical and I wanted to show it to you just in case, because we could all use a laugh right now. Recently, I had shared with you that Dominion voting systems threaten to sue right-wing media outlets for defamation. Of course, they have filed against Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani, but they also threatened to sue Newsmax. Well, shortly after they issued that threat, Newsmax had some of their on-air personalities read off this, essentially what amounted to a hostage letter saying that they had no evidence to prove that Dominion rigged the election. It, of course, pissed off Fox viewers that had moved over to Newsmax. Well, the other day, they had a QAnon conspiracy nut on, one of the QAnon conspiracy nuts, which you may know of, Mike Lindell. He is the founder of MyPillow, and he's the guy who wanted Trump to declare martial law, to literally overthrow the government. Anyway, they had him on to talk about cancel culture and to basically hear him whine and cry about his social media accounts being taken down. His product was also removed from several stores like Bed Bath & Beyond. So they had him on to discuss that, but instead, Lindell launches into this conspiracy-laced tirade, once again, about Dominion, and one of the hosts completely freaked out. So take a look.
When they took it down about 3 weeks ago, and then I put it back up, my personal, it was a
Mike, thank you very much. Mike, you're talking about machines that we at Newsmax have not been able to verify any of those kinds of allegations. We just want to let people know that there's nothing substantive that we've seen.
They did this because I'm revealing all the evidence on Friday of all the election fraud with these machines. So I'm sorry if you think it's not
Mike,
it's real.
Can I ask our producers, can we get out of here, please?
Okay, so that's just part one. I'm not going to play the whole clip because it's over 2 minutes long, but it continues on like that for a while with Lindell rambling and the host just talking over him, trying to get him back on track. But you can see the guy is stressed out. But what happened next is the funny part that looks almost like an SNL skit. So take a look.
And everybody hold on a second. Mike, hold on 1 second. Let's talk a little bit of...
So this guy literally just runs away. He's so terrified of being sued that he just runs away from this conspiracy nut. But remember, they propped up these conspiracy nuts for months. For 2 months, they went along with this bullshit and these lies. So you can imagine this didn't sit well with the QAnon crowd. So now, not only are they done with Fox News, but now they're ditching Newsmax and they'll only watch OAN. Backing off of these conspiracy theories actually hurts their ratings. Because according to the data released earlier this week, Fox News fell to the number 3 spot for primetime viewership for the first time since 2001. And the only reason, let's be clear, everybody always touts the fact that, oh, Fox has been number one, Fox has been number one. Well, yeah, there's a reason for that. They've been the only game in town up until now. They used to hold a monopoly on conservative viewers, but now with Newsmax and OAN siphoning off some of those viewers, their numbers were bound to fall. So it's normal that you would see some erosion of their viewership. However, there was a precipitous drop following the election in November, and particularly after they stopped lying about the election being rigged. After they were threatened with a lawsuit as well, they started to change their tune. And, you know, there's a saying that most people don't watch the news for information, they watch for affirmation. And truer words were never spoken in regard to Fox's QAnon viewers. The Fox viewers, who are reasonable, non-conspiracy theorist, normal people, they want to hear and see the truth. So they'll seek out additional sources of information, but the QAnon crowd won't. They're only going to watch as long as Fox hosts confirm their worst fears. As soon as Fox started telling the truth, they flipped out. They were like spoiled children finally hearing the word no for the first time. You know, they're like millions of Augustus Gloops and Veruca Salts running around from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's just like Mrs. Gloop and Mr. Salt, who never discipline their children or set rules and boundaries. Rupert Murdoch has no one to blame but himself. He allowed Roger Ailes to take over, and he allowed Fox News to become nothing more than a steaming bullshit factory. You know, as everybody says, they created the Frankenstein, and now the Frankenstein is turning on them. And don't get me wrong, all mainstream media networks hold a bias. They report the news based on that bias, whether it's MSNBC or CNN, any of them, all of them, they skew things somewhat. And it really depends on the host, because you do have some conservative hosts, you have some more liberal hosts, but what they're really missing are populist hosts. And so their main shtick is that the establishment, corporate-owned politicians are the good guys, and everyone else is dangerous. They're just the fringe, they're outsiders who can't possibly win elections, their ideas are unpopular. They're the ones that keep pushing the false idea that the country is center right or center left, depending on who's on the screen at that moment. Totally false, but that's their kink, you know, and it's what their advertisers want. That's what it really boils down to. It's what the pharmaceutical companies want, who advertise ad nauseum on their shows. That's why they will never talk up Medicare for all, because the pharmaceutical companies would pull their ads before the sunset today. That's why you'll never hear them promote that and promote the politicians like Bernie Sanders and Nina Turner. And you'll never hear information on those shows like some of what I share here. You're not going to hear about Richie Neal being a bought and paid for shill Democrat and how the Democratic Party in his state used homophobic smears to destroy his progressive opponent last year. They're never going to tell you that. But Fox News is a different animal altogether. They flat out lie to their viewers about empirical facts. And I know this because I've watched segments of their show after I watched every single second of a congressional hearing. And sure enough, Fox edited portions of those hearings in a way that it completely skewed the meaning, it completely skewed the testimony to fit their narrative and to make Trump look and sound innocent. When in reality, if you had watched the entire thing, you would have known that the witness absolutely threw him under the bus and gave up the goods, and that he was completely guilty. I've witnessed it with my own eyes and ears. So yes, while liberals should find independent news alternatives to mainstream media favorites as well, so should conservatives, because none of them are completely honest. So all these people who are now news hopping because they're not hearing what they want to hear, they need to ask themselves, why are you watching the news? If you've already made up your mind and you already know what you believe and facts don't matter to you anymore, you don't want to hear the truth, and you won't believe anything unless it already aligns with your existing beliefs, why are you even watching the news? Just to get yourself upset? Just to feed your outrage for the day? What is the point of that? Just shut it off altogether. Move on. Get on with your life. Find something to do. Get a hobby. I used to watch MSNBC, and then I realized they weren't telling me the truth. They weren't giving me the full picture. luckily, I knew that because I do watch other sources. I do get news from independent journalists who aren't funded by big pharma or big oil or insurance companies. Just be aware of the bias. Just be aware that you should get your news somewhere else as well. And as far as Mike Lindell goes with the My Pillow thing, I mean, they believe in capitalism to a fault, and they believe in businesses having a right to do what they want. And this is something I always point to. You know, they say, oh, a bakery can turn away a gay couple because they don't want to serve someone because that's, you know, against their religious beliefs. Well, you know what? Maybe it's against Bed Bath & Beyond's American beliefs to sell the product of someone who literally is spouting lies and trying to gin up rage in this country, or did gin up rage in this country to the point that 5 people died on January 6th. If they, as an independent business owner, they don't want to be connected to that, that's well within their rights. So all these people who are crying, you know, First Amendment, and I have a right to say what I want. Yes, you have a right to say whatever the hell you want. Everyone does. But business owners also have the right to make decisions based on what's good for their company. And if associating with you is bad for business, they have the right to pull your product. That's the way it works in life. Actions, consequences. You have the right to say whatever you want, but others have the right to judge you for it. Others have the right to not want to be associated with it. Anyway, I'll keep you posted if I hear any more. As always, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.